All right, looks like we have a pretty full house. We'll call the June 18th, 2025 City of Brentwood Architectural Review Board meeting to order. Calling the roll, Carl Carlin is not here, Paul Turner.
Here.
And Matt Foreman present. Our first order of business is approval of meeting minutes, May 15th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I guess I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? None. On our agenda, we have no old business this week, so we'll be moving on to new business. We have 4 applications. I'm just taking them in order where they are. So when we call your application, please step up to the podium, give us your name and address, and tell us a little bit about your project. So first up is 9021 Pine Avenue. And, excuse me, I need to share. Just a second.
You hear me all right?
She says you're good.
Cameron Coleman, Levine Associates Architects, 2025 South Brentwood Boulevard, Suite 101, Brentwood, Mo. 63144. Speaking on behalf of the owner about his project.
All right, so
Our address on this one.
9021 Pine. So I took the liberty of pulling it up in Google Earth. So that's our street view of the existing property, correct?
Correct.
So corner lot, brick house. And then what I'm showing for your plans, which I need to tweak a little bit because they're sideways.
Actually, if you look at some of the later ones, they're individual pages that are properly oriented. I found those eventually.
Other,
So there's 2103 A1 site. Same precursor, I guess those are job numbers probably.
And you probably want the top one because it has the AC condensers added to the site, showing that they're not within the setback.
all right, so let's start with that site plan. I'll rotate that one, excuse me. Counterclockwise, there we go. All right, so starting here, I'm assuming the dotted line is the existing residence?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so significant, was there an old 2-car garage in the back?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so plans are okay for right now. Let's go to the elevations. So staff review, I'm assuming we're triggering the civil because of the amount of site review. But we're within all the setbacks and all those other lovely things beyond the purview of this board.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Had site plan up. I'm looking for the other 2 elevations. Where am I missing those?
So there's again, if you've downloaded the 2103, there's an A3 and an A4.
Did I not pull those down?
They may have put them up later in the day.
That's the one I really want. Let's do that. All right, so these are the two primary street elevations. So do we have, Turner, you seem to have read this prior. Do we have colors identified?
I did not find them.
We do
They
not.
could be on there, I just didn't get a chance to look at it that closely.
We do not have colors identified. I have some samples that are basically earth tones that the contractor gave me that they're looking at, but it's basically a darker for the shake, and then a lighter beige color for the field lap siding, gray asphalt shingle for the roof, but
So that's one of the pieces we do have to note those on here. We don't have to be like, it's this beige. We could do dark beige, light beige. Is the trim white? Is the trim beige? But we'll get to making some notes on those before we have a motion. So
and we can get the specified colors.
So do you think you'll be able to pick those out for tonight, whether they're,
Not tonight, no.
okay, well then, let's still do a review because are probably other comments, and I don't know if we have residents.
agreed. My intent was to have light beige, dark beige, to at least get within the families and get that documented so that that's.
Do you know that it's going to be a beige, or are you looking at grays and greens
This
and
was what
blues?
he's going with, is the dark gray roof, the dark beige for the shake, the lighter beige.
We can work with that.
And
That'll
then
work.
just, I think the only other thing would be then window trim, corner trim, and the windows, are they white? Are they beige? Are they gray?
White.
And I think we can get there, so.
Yeah, well, that's doable, yeah. Generic colors are fine.
All right, so we do have 8 and 12 with the pitch, and I'm looking at the house next door here, which is lower. Your first floor currently is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps out. And based on your elevations, it looks like you're currently running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps up to the first floor.
Four steps.
That one right there. So that's the tear down. So where I'm working up to is, I do have some concern. The main things we look at are materials, massing, and context of the neighborhood. And we do this all the time because our neighborhoods are older and they're starting to turn over. We try to be very sensitive to the size of this house in relationship to the other one-story houses around the neighborhood. One of the things we'll typically look at is, without impacting the program or the function of the house, one of the pieces is, can we consider maybe dropping the roof pitch a little bit? This one does have a 9-foot truss bearing on the second floor. Is your finish ceiling, I'm assuming that's going to give you either a 9-foot or 8'6"-ish finish ceiling on the second floor?
9 foot would be these would be pre-cut 9-foot studs, so.
Okay. Already down to 8 and 12. If it were 12 and 12, there could be a discussion about, dropping the roof pitch just to lower the volume of the house a little bit. We also typically see the you've already got the bearing right at that 9 foot. We do see some, they add the extra, oh, what's it called?
Heel height.
That's it. At the top bearing plate, would there be any consideration of maybe dropping the second floor to an 8 foot? I'm still a little nervous how much taller it is than the house next to it. Would you like to chime in?
I would agree with that too. I mean,
That's something I'd have to go back to the owner with.
So what drove the number of steps at the front porch?
I don't know. I wasn't the architect that designed this. He's out of town. And
Okay.
then the owner couldn't find a babysitter. So I'm standing in, so I can't speak to all the design decisions.
Get it. Now, let me upscope a little bit. We're talking about the massing and the relationship to the house next door. I really do appreciate the level of detail put in, the window trim, the shake siding with the contrasting color, the way you've laid it out with the garage on the side with a nice front elevation. All of those things are absolutely very much appreciated and fitting into where this neighborhood's current context is and where we're seeing development happening in the neighborhood. My only substantive concern is the height of the house. And just, it is 3,200 square feet.
I suspect the intention for the stairs at the front was probably dictated by the height of the rear of the lot and keeping the base plate, top of foundation 8 inches above adjacent grade. And since the site slopes off towards the front, it gets a little bit taller as you go to pine. So I suspect that's what dictated the.
That feels about right, looking at the side elevation and looking at that floor line. So looking at the garage, we probably couldn't go, we'd have to cut to get it any lower.
gotcha. Well, my concern here is that virtually, actually, I think every house within 2 or 3 blocks of there is a brick house. The other 2-story example, like this house, that's brand new, was done in all brick. I'm not saying that it would need to be all brick, but I don't know if we have any subdivision residents or neighbors that are nearby that are looking at this one. The other thing I had as a comment on this one was, I'd like to, especially at this intersection, which is, if I remember, is a little off center, this is a predominant feature as you're coming down the street. If I remember correctly. Oops. If I can get it to pop out to street or plan view.
I have the screen up. What are you looking at so I can pull it up?
So pull it up in plan just so we can see where the house, this one is, if it's, high school and Pine, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's, intersection, if I remember correctly, is a little staggered. And so this house is gonna sit on the corner for everybody to look at and to be the only all-sided home on this street, I don't think is respectful of the neighbors' efforts to maintain a neighborhood that's all brick. Because every house that's to the west of this is brand new, which there's about 4 to 6 of them, I think, are all brick. And so that corner, and the other question on that corner, I appreciate the detail, but I also think that the corner is not being reviewed as a corner that you see in 3 dimensions. With this large blank face that faces down the street. Those are my concerns that I'd like to see addressed. You see the way this is showing here, Matt? So this face This is what you see as you come down the street.
That's the upper side elevation.
I mean, this is a primary corner piece that, to me, should read around the corner. Especially if we proceed with the idea of it being a sided elevation. But I don't know that I can vote for all siding on this house. I think it can be a blend of brick and siding. Because the neighborhood is all brick.
Let's go there.
So, but I'd love to hear what the neighbors say.
Exactly. Are there any neighbors here to speak about this submission? If so, you're welcome to
Please come up to the podium
turns, come up to the podium.
and introduce yourself before you speak.
Good evening. I'm Joe Edelman, 9012 Pine, a little bit east of that house on the south side. And though all the houses on that stretch of Pine are what I know to be full masonry. And I don't know if you're talking about masonry veneer or full masonry when you want some brickwork done. So whatever your thoughts are.
Pretty much everybody takes it as appearance and not as
Right.
the original intent of the
Okay.
subdivision, which
Okay.
would have been full masonry, but,
Thank you very much.
which is why I don't, now, do you have an issue one way or the other, or?
No, I'm just throwing that out just because, it's the way the whole block was built, and that would be very expensive. There was a fellow years ago on the corner of Pine and Park Ridge who, being in the Park Ridge subdivision, he had to change his plans to a full masonry house, but I don't think our block of Pine has any subdivision issues like that.
Yeah, and at this point, I'm not looking at it as a subdivision. I'm looking at it as what are all the neighboring houses?
Right.
What's the general context of the neighborhood, which is all brick?
I just wanted to throw that out. Thank you very much.
There was someone else.
There was one other person that had their hand up.
Yeah, the gentleman in the red striped shirt.
I live in the White House, 9109 Pine. You saw the picture of my house up there.
Can you state your name?
9109 Pine.
Your name?
Name, Richard Kuntz, K-U-N-T-Z.
Thank you.
No doubt that this house needs to be replaced. I belonged to Dorothy, and Dorothy went to a nursing home. Dog rescue came and took her dogs away. But she had a cat in there that was outsmarting them, so I had to trap the cat. And I took the cat over to a friend of hers who took it to a cat rescue. So it stinks in there. And it's hard to call it. Before it's built, it needs to be replaced. It's what maybe needs too is Pine or high school is a mini Highway 40 because everyone comes out of the forest and goes down high school. And if he's going to work on this house, he needs some help to close off lawn to Pine during the working day. I don't think that, it's not against mine, but my neighbor there, he's going to be building a house in their living room is what it's going to happen to feel like. Their living room's there, their bedroom's there, and you'll be building a house right next to it. And it's not going to bother me. My house is down on the second house down. But it's I don't know whether it's going to keep in character with the neighborhood or not, but taking consideration, it's better probably than what's there right now. Upstairs was terrible, and like I said, it smelled like something in there. And it's, but I'm not looking forward to this because I have all the construction noise and stuff and the trucks and stuff like that and concrete pouring, things like that. And I have a cat that goes in and out of the house galore, and galore doesn't like all this noise. And so I think that if maybe we could shut off High School Drive between Lawn and Pine during the day to help him out, that would be much of a help to him instead of trying to dodge traffic and having concrete trucks and all the rest of the stuff out there. It's, I don't know, my house is probably gonna be the next one to be destroyed. And the picture's up there. Go to the left that way. Second house down. See the white brick? That's mine.
Looks pretty good from here. So,
That's it right there.
Is that a
Well-
two-car garage on there?
That's the one.
That's a one-car garage?
That's where I live in. But it was built in 1950,
Okay.
52, and it was built by morons. And, you know, and then the war came along, and the war with morons didn't mix. And everything was difficult. It had a stone foundation rather than poured concrete and things like that. And so my mom and dad bought that for $20,500, and the house right next to me to the east went for 23, I think, 23,000. So I guess things have
So your
increased.
parents were an original owner?
Yeah, they go. It's you doubled your money.
So
Anyway,
since you have a history all the way through, what do you think of the new house as the house itself?
The new house.
Yes, the proposed house that we
It's
have
hard
here.
to say. It's going to be frame, I assume.
Yeah.
And it's not keeping in with the neighborhood, but is it, the house that's there isn't worth anything. It's terrible upstairs. You couldn't live there. It needs to be gutted inside, and it's not good for anything. So perhaps you might consider that something here, like this new house, is much better than keeping Dorothy's old house. And it's not going to, you know, I don't know that I want to have the house next door to me because it's awful tall. But you have to build a house and nowadays to fit the families that people want. And my house is not what the people want. And I just wanted to say that my house will be on the block here before long, and you'll be thinking about tearing it down. And so it's, I didn't want to say anything except if we could maybe stop the traffic on between Lawn and Pine during the day so that he could get his trucks in there, his concrete trucks, all the rest of the stuff. Because those people with the Audis and BMWs, they don't stop at that stop sign at Pine and High School.
so that's a little outside the purview of the board for their architectural review. We do have a construction ordinance that our city officials would be happy to share. That's where the ground rules about what time of day, traffic control, where they can put dumpsters, where they can park trucks. So that is a citywide ordinance, and it will be enforced by our building department to keep an eye on that level of the construction.
I thought you had a lot of juice because you got a haircut just like the mayor.
But he's a lawyer and I'm not, so.
You're not a lawyer? I can swear you in right here.
So is,
Good at swearing.
so our main intent, I'm gonna pick out a couple of things that you've said and take the liberty of applying them. We share your concerns about the masonry on the outside of the house, and we share your concerns about the height of the house. And I think those are the things that we've started discussion on tonight to try to make the new home fit in with the neighborhood as best it can.
Right. And it's gonna be like my neighbor next door, he's gonna have a house built right in his living room and bedroom because he's 30 foot away.
At least he's across the road, so.
All right, I'm sorry I took up my time.
Oh,
Oh, no,
more
thank
than
you.
welcome.
No, we're happy to hear the history too.
All right, our applicant again. So typically, without the subdivision driving a requirement for all masonry, this board typically has never made someone do an all masonry home. We have asked for wainscot or other accents around the building to tie the masonry, or maybe a front facade to tie the masonry and the materials in with the neighborhood. And as you've heard, we also ask about the heights of the house. With the colors, I think you've brought enough with you for us to denote the vinyl. But to Board Member Turner's point, would there be a consideration for adding a wainscot around, I got to get it right, the south and west?
I'll go back to the owner and the builder to see what they want to do. But was going to be my question to you. Is a wainscot appropriate, or are you looking for a full facade, or?
Yeah, well, so I wouldn't be opposed to the first level being a brick. So if you look at the house across the street,
Hang on.
I mean,
Back and emulate his.
so if you do that, I mean, those houses, I could easily see.
So that one's got the
So it's
gable.
It's a story and a half house with a gable, but I can also see, I mean, there are some houses that will have the brick, and I could easily see both of these houses, which I think one is our speaker. I could easily see that house as well as the one at the corner having a second floor added to them and an addition put on the
And
back.
he's got an addition and siding here. There's an addition and
And,
siding up there.
You know, and I'm not opposed to that. So the elevation is studied from the standpoint of it being again, I'd still like to see this corner wrapped, but there's a main body to the house. If that becomes the primary
So let's
partial brick, and it just looks like it's been an original house that was added to. I mean,
give our applicant some actionable comments to take back. And what I would suggest is, if we're going back to the owner, we will not vote, we'll table this. And that means we don't need to send out more public announcement. You'd be put on the ballot for next week or next year.
Next month, hopefully.
next year, yes.
Feels like I've been on the phone since 8 this morning, so here we go. All right, so you'd automatically be on the ballot for the agenda for the next meeting, and we can follow through on your discussion with the owner. So
And in
the
terms
first
of,
comment you're making is a little less tangible.
Right.
Are you reacting to the fact that the face on here is the accent shake, but then it's a stark difference when you turn the corner?
Well, I wouldn't just wrap that. I mean, in some ways, to me, that corner is just a big blank wall, right, as you're coming down. I know that it's at the end of the road, and they're probably saying to themselves, I don't want any headlights in my window. But from an appearance in the corner, because it's presented as a whole house, that bothers me. I mean, I could easily see this one bay window could possibly be shifted down, and you do something on the corner, or a second, two-faced gable there with the shake on top. Not going to design it for you, so it's kind of what you guys work up. But to me, that corner is just.
So you're primarily pointing out this chunk right here could use a little more
Correct.
articulation, I'll
So,
say, or
yeah.
emphasis.
I mean, and if you want to do your magic, if you want to just plop that front elevation on that corner for reference, just to see how it looks. I mean, that's sort of what I'm getting at is that the corner, as you look at it, doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it's two flat elevations as it's done, and it is seen at the corner because the whole corner projects on a public face. If this was tucked between houses, fine, not a big deal. But as it is, on this particular corner especially, it stands out.
So there's a stark
Correct.
change at the corner from that to this. We do have windows, we do have nice detailing.
Yeah, on the front,
3/1, but when we turn the corner, then we get detailing here.
And it's further back. It's not, I mean, to me, that front wants to be its own defined piece. I mean, you can look at some old
pieces.
Sears Roebuck houses and find stuff, so.
And we've got pieces here, this does stick out. To me, it could be interesting if we looked at this, maybe treating this as, I've got a line right there.
Right.
Is that another accent piece? And then your other comment, at the most, I would say this board would ask
Exactly.
for would
That-
be,
You're correct.
a brick first floor, maybe a brick, at the very least, a brick wainscot.
And if it was those two faces, I'd probably be fine with that too, with the porch being set back. I
Yeah,
mean, so I could see it just being that, the blue that you're showing, the yellow is just an area that needs some sort of treatment to make sure that it turns the corner. And like I said, the way I would approach it would take out the second bay window, or the second floor bay window, rework that so it's more of a flat face, and then move the projected detail of some sort, whether it's matches the front elevation somehow or is its own, even that same one, slide it down and play with it. But that's up to the designer, really. I mean, I know
how about this? Because those are the egress windows for the two bedrooms.
yeah, but you could still have those windows without the bay window.
But it would almost be like, do you add a third one right here?
Exactly.
That would be more than acceptable, adding a third one.
Yeah, I mean, again, if it was just strictly adding a third one, that's fine too. If it's three of them in a row, if that looks right,
And even I'm looking at the plan now, which actually wasn't coming across fully in elevation to me, but there's a step in the plan here.
right. And it can stop, I think you stopped
But
it
if
back
I-
there, didn't you?
No, it would be
Oh, yeah, you could stop it.
pull that
pull
to
it back, and
there,
that's- yeah, that's what I meant.
reducing the amount of
Sorry.
masonry, and then to use the magic, as Mr. Turner calls it, maybe something like that is happening here. So these are things, we're just making suggestions
Yeah.
that you could,
We can't use these and seal them for permit?
as long as it's not my seal, I don't care. It's like-
No, those are all good points.
All right,
I'll take them back to the owner,
I'll
see how
share
they
this
want to address
with-
it.
I'll share this with staff, and you can use it to go back to the owner for
Once we have
conversation.
revised elevations, when do we need to get them back to you to be on the discussion for the next month? If this is tabled.
Mike,
Yeah.
You're going to go ahead and table this till next month? You won't need
Correct.
to?
so then he just needs to, how far in advance of the next meeting does he need to bring you the revisions?
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Your mic?
I believe the next meeting is the 17th of July.
Is there any stipulation that revisions need to be online for a certain amount of time for public viewing? Or just be available for public viewing before a meeting? I've never asked before.
Everything gets posted online a week before.
Gotcha,
So everything for this meeting was posted on Friday last week.
gotcha. But they'd like to have it in 2 weeks.
And you wouldn't need anything color-wise, in terms of color
just-
elevations, just the colors we've
What most
selected.
people are doing is just a little table
Okay.
that says,
Chart
yeah,
just tells us what window
Color
trim,
board
Yeah.
or something.
front
yes.
door, garage
doesn't
door.
even need, yeah, it can be an 8.5 by 11. added to your set, or it can be on the elevation sheet, whatever
All right,
decision. I mean, doors, windows, trim, downspouts, gutters, various trim detailing that you're selecting if you're doing a different flashing someplace.
all right.
So I'll share this with staff. They can send it out. And with that, since we've had public comment, I will move to table.
Is there anybody online?
Oh, good question. Can I see that? I hid that part of the screen, so participants 3,
No?
no attendees.
Okay. Oh, nobody.
All right, so on that, I will move to table. Second,
Do I have to second?
I don't know.
Second. All in favor, aye.
All right. Wonderful, thank you. Next agenda item, 2309 Park Ridge. I will find your location and call your documents up.
Park Ridge. Let's see which one that is. Is that
Close that.
this? Is this one?
Wow, it's always so quiet after that turns off. All right, please tell us about your project.
Hello, Nick Desmuke, 2309 Parkridge Avenue. I'm the owner of the property. Looking to just add a attached back patio covering to the house.
All right, so you're the one that did that really cool little 3D sketch, much appreciated.
Oh, that was my dad.
Good job. Most of the kids that work for me now can't do that. They need a computer. So. All right, so it looks pretty straightforward. Is the patio area already there, or is
Yes.
that new as well? Okay.
Yes. And you can see it in the pictures that are attached as well.
So the proposed width, that is the width of the proposed patio cover?
Yes.
About 12 feet wide. Let's see, does that show 12 feet wide? 12 foot? 14. Are we ready for him to do his?
I think he's pretty close to being done with his description. It's pretty simple. My question is the relationship of the new plan and section there, the section detail where you're hitting the existing house with the 2x6, 16 inches on center. Where is the roof hitting the exterior wall in relationship to the window sill and the brick course?
You're about,
Come on up, state your name.
I'm Dan Desmuke. So the ledger board is probably close to 8 feet off of that patio. There's an outlet box right above that window.
Hmm.
There's probably a rim board behind that, or rim joist.
Right
Well, this house is
here.
probably solid masonry, so
So my concern is looking at the picture compared to the three-dimensional rendering. I'm a little concerned because what I'm seeing here you know, if that umbrella is 6, 7 feet tall, that little bit of a discrepancy in the 3D sketch would be
Yeah.
that you're,
The windows, on that upper level, I think they start about this far off the floor.
Yeah, so if you go back to the actual by the side view plan, yeah, so it's 8 feet up, and then there's a slight pitch down from the existing wall. So from the existing structure, it's right around 9 feet, and that's listed there off to the right. But are you asking how far is it from the bottom of that patio all the way to that windowsill?
my hunch is your roof line is going to be right about there, and it's going to slope down a little bit, exaggerated. But if I go 1, 2, 3, is that right? 8 and 12?
Yeah. Oh, no,
3 courses and
3
12.
courses is 8 inches. I just,
do hospitals. I
you
haven't
do
done this in a while.
16 inches every 8. I mean, every 6 bricks. So 1 foot 4.
I'll say it this way, my concern is,
Yeah.
I don't think in that three-dimensional drawing that the roof is drawn high enough to stand under.
So let me ask this as a quick question. This door that's in the picture, so is that the finished floor or is that a lower basement?
There's a step down, probably around a foot, where you step in and you step down.
So you step down in the house when you go in.
Yeah, that was originally a garage, I
It used to
believe.
be a garage.
And then, so is that flush with the rest of the house or is that steps down into the garage?
Step in, you step down.
Okay, and then the finished floor in that space, is that match what's behind the window that we see? Gotcha.
So that the patio height is probably 16 inches.
Yeah, so the patio is actually a raised block.
You're only making my case. So if this
Yeah,
door,
No,
if this,
my idea was to have the post on the outside being 8 foot with the 2 by 10 beam. Ledger board being just high enough so we can have that low slope.
okay, so I'm just translating a 6'8" door from here to here. I'm actually feeling a little bit better, but if I go another, was it a 2 by 6 or a 2 by 12 you were putting across there?
The ledger board was going to be 2 by 6.
3/4 isn't bad, but then we're gonna need, you should have by code from the windowsill down another 8 inches, so the snow that accumulates on your roof doesn't get into your windowsill.
Foot was taller than that electric box. That electric box is coming out from, I guess, the ceiling of,
Well, that should be at 6'8" plus 8 is 7'4". It's basically 8 foot to that electric panel, or electric outlet box, whatever is up there.
Because if I, and I know we're losing perspective here, right? But this was my 6'8". What I'm getting to is I'm concerned about the height underneath your, that's 6, 7.5-ish, that's 6'8", and I'm got this brick line to compensate for my perspective. That's essentially 6'8" off of the concrete.
Right.
Then if I slope down to the outside edge,
Yes, I did my 6'8" as the top of the That's from the ground, yeah. Yeah, so it's going to be
had not-
16 inches off of that, so it's going to be 16 inches higher than that.
The
From that
top of
line,
the,
16 inches.
That's where 8 feet is, yeah, what he just drew, the second line.
I'm a little concerned about your vertical height. This is actually not a style or a design problem. All in favor of you getting this canopy done. Not really worried about if it's pink or what it's made out of. It's on the back of the house. They can paint it whatever color they want the day after they get their occupancy permit.
Well, I'd still like to know if the 2x6s are just treated lumber bare, if they're going to be painted, if it's,
Together tree, all of the materials.
so everything was going to be a treated lumber system with a roll roofing.
OSB
had in
for the
his-
sheeting.
Yeah, so he had that in the plan here with the roll roofing and the half-inch OSB, et cetera. What I'm concerned about is that ledger board that's bolting onto the house, 2x6 by 14 foot, 2x6 by 12. I'm concerned the height under your new roof is lower than you think it's going to be.
So we should raise that ledger board.
So typically,
That's what's recommended. I mean, you can go to right below it if you want. I don't think there's any stipulation in the code one way or the other. It's just, it's going to be prone to water infiltration.
Not that I recall, there's just anything.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any restriction on it. I've never found one, but it's just not recommended because you're going to have a 14-foot wide snow catch up against 3.5 windows. I mean, it's just potential problem for you guys, just to be aware of.
so it would be, if you're setting the OSB and the ledger board 1 or 2 brick courses below the windowsill where that top pink line is. And I'm just concerned you're gonna be, by the time you get 14 feet out, you're gonna be knocking your head. It's a math problem. It's not necessarily a style problem.
So do we have any
Haven't asked.
comments?
Is there anyone in the audience for public comment on this one? So from the Architectural Review Board point of view, I think we've got all the materials. Did you tell us what color you're painting?
So we were going to, as soon as it dried out, they were gonna stain it.
Stain, okay.
Stain.
That's
Perfect.
fine. How about the gutter?
It's gonna match the existing gutter that's on the house.
There's
It's like a
brown-
dark brown.
Brown gutter, so
Brown,
it's a
okay.
5-inch gutter. And
match existing's fine.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I think in this section, if I have to sum it up, that this 9-foot and this 8-foot, I hope I'm wrong. I think I would check those windowsill heights off the concrete and just make sure you're right there. Then maybe a little extra flashing around your windows just to be sure. And I'm kind of,
what's a recommended slope
For a
per foot?
minimum slope, flat roof is 1/4 inch to a foot. Yeah, so there is, I think, a copy of the residential code downstairs in the library. Grab it, look through it there are tables to get proper sized footing, unless you actually have a full footing around that. Is that gonna go on the deck itself?
I was gonna dig a pier.
Yeah, so
I didn't, that concrete's only 4.
it's outside of our purview, but I don't think that pier is gonna work. So I'll leave that to the planning official to
all right, so
tell you stuff like
So
that.
where I'm going to leave this is, I think the design is fine.
Yeah,
We don't have any public comment. I think my advice would be to check the vertical heights where you're putting your ledger board versus your windowsill with the 9 foot. Check the fall 1/4 inch. Usually when it gets that low at 1/4 inch, we do a couple like
Yeah, there's,
double
you're
underlayment.
gonna find there's 2 layers of underlayment required and other stuff. It's in the building code, so
So like,
again, that's outside of our purview, but I can tell you
there might
after
be
having
2
drawn all
layers.
these.
2 layers of felt might be in your best interest, but that's in the code. All right, so with that, all of that said,
Did we put the color, or were the colors on there? Stained?
I'll add
and
them,
brown?
stain
So,
and, stain and brown to match, and then I'm assuming the roll roofing's just gray roll roofing.
yeah.
All right, so
I'm just waiting for you to call for a motion.
I'm gonna jot that down first. All right, do we have a motion?
I'll move to approve as noted.
I'll second.
Aye,
The roll, Paul Turner,
yes.
Matt, just double check the heights, but I think you're gonna be fine.
So once we receive the permit, what's the procedure as far as,
We're done. I'll
okay?
talk to Steve.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
once you apply for the permit, we'll review it. You'll pay for the permit. You'll get your permit by email, and then you'll just start scheduling your inspections after that. Okay. Thank you.
Match existing gutter and all right, okay, back to our agenda. 9701 White, please step up and tell us about your project, and I will find it over here. That,
Hello. Matt Shaver with Shaver Architecture. We are proposing an addition at the existing home. I'll give you a second.
get your file I saved, sorry.
Nope, you're good.
Thought I downloaded everything. Go on, show me. I didn't see that one.
All right, there we go.
So the goal of the project is to provide additional living space for our clients who are going to be living in kind of a multi-generational living situation. So we've added bedroom and living space for them. We'll be demolishing the attached garage to make room for the addition. And we've kind of replaced that with from the front, a similar massing with the addition. Plan to match the front of the addition with brick to match the house, and then we'd change to siding on the rest of it.
Okay, let's.
High school's gonna be a busy street. All right, so you're on the north corner right there.
Yeah, there it is.
Can't tell you the number of times I parked in front of your trees to pick up
Oh, yeah.
my kids.
So this house is actually non-conforming with the setback along High School. And so we have to avoid a variance, just a lot of the reason why we're shifting the addition to the east as you have it shown there.
Very creative solution.
Squeezed it in.
I'm gonna go this way and look back
Yep.
a little too far.
Oh, no, that's,
So is that being demolished? Right here?
Yes, that's the portion, that's a attached garage. It's
Okay.
subpar in terms of size, I'd say. That's
Oh,
sho-
there it is.
That's shown on,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
So that garage is coming off. You're essentially holding that same east boundary at the property line and going, expanding north and south. 99017 White. So then, right here, there's a porch facing into the backyard.
Correct.
You've got your own gate and separation from the alley.
That's actually a private street. There's
Is that one a private street?
Yeah, or I don't, it's not an alley. It's not a public alley. So, yeah, we don't have access to that.
Thought that was just leftover alley.
Yeah.
All right, are there any neighbors here to comment on this submission? Seeing none, let me check online. Still no other attendees online. All right. So typically, and you've heard on the last one, checking to see we fit in with the neighborhood, you're not adding a lot of vertical volume. You're within the setbacks. You've got brick on the main facades. The only thing that I think we need to talk about a little bit is the proposition for the front porch is showing, where's my page? So the front porch is showing screening between the columns. Which is not, I'm going to say it's not very typical at the moment, and I knew in our new design ordinance that's been passed by planning and zoning but not adopted by the Board of Aldermen yet, that the screen on the front porch would not be allowed in the upcoming design ordinance.
oh, I'm looking, do we have a survey? Oh, there's the site plan. Look at the site plan.
Front porch is existing.
Yeah, and one of my comments that I marked up was to say I didn't see a problem with screens on a porch if it's behind the setback. That's just my opinion. But I don't think it's been codified one way or the
Hasn't
other.
been codified one way or the other. I don't think we've actually had many front porches with
Yeah, where they
screening on
put
them
in
come up.
screening, yeah.
But to your point, it is behind the setback. What's the context of a street showing us?
So I guess my question is is it gonna, okay, so I see a rail on that one. So it's only, I see like in this rendering is I guess that's a rail, but it's only on one side.
That's
Guardrail?
the only side where he's got a drop.
Yeah, so exactly.
I see.
Right.
What's that guardrail gonna be made of, or is it existing?
No, it's not existing. Ideally, it'd be a cable rail.
Are the bushes remaining in front?
As far as I know, yes.
Do you have any detail information on this particular product that you're looking at using on the front?
Oh, which product? I'm sorry.
The screen product, sorry.
Not at this time. And
I mean, that's my only hesitation about the screen. I mean, I don't have a problem with the concept of a screen, and I don't know where the consultant has come up with on that, and if that was something specifically requested by residents to not have screens on front porches, or. But the detailing, I think, needs to be addressed because it is on the front of the house. I mean, if it was in a concealed backyard, I'd be less concerned, but because it's on the front and, you know, it's just how is all that going to work?
Help me with your concern.
Uh,
Are you after a manufactured product?
yeah, I mean, is it just a simple, I mean, is it a manufactured product, or is this
that was
wood,
that was
or
kind
is
of the intent. You know, we kind of show it white to match the other, you know, trim elements. But if there's a particular material that's you think it needs to be, I'm sure we could talk about that. But yeah,
It's just more of how is it going to look in 5 years? I guess that's my concern, because if it's a real,
So it's white anodized aluminum manufactured product that's being applied. What you're after is not somebody took a 2x2 and stapled a screen on it.
yeah, that kind of concept. I mean, it's like, is it going to, even if it's, I mean, it's a full height with the way this is set up. So I assume the columns are all existing.
Columns are existing, bushes are existing. And I would say from, as I noted, parking in front of it a lot, this house is always usually nicely maintained.
I will add there are existing columns, but the plan is to actually change that configuration per the drawings. But yes, there are existing columns. We're going to reduce it to 3 columns. Hopefully, is the plan.
Well, it is 3. Oh,
There's currently 5.
5. On the front elevation?
Correct.
Oh, gotcha. Now, I guess, gotta look at the plan. I mean,
I don't particularly have an issue. There's already a guardrail, there's already bushes here that are
oh,
defining.
so the guardrail is existing.
There's
Well, there's a panel on the south, I'm sorry, on the east.
some lattice work.
Oh, it's a
there
lattice work.
facing the driveway. Yeah.
We're not really changing the
oh, it's a
massing, we've got bushes
Cable
in front.
guardrail, okay, it's
I'd
fine.
rather people be sitting out there occupying their.
Yeah,
front porch than
exactly, and that's why my comment on the proposed guidelines was that I didn't see a problem with the.
I would also
Free
say that,
porch.
number one, it hasn't been adopted yet, and number two,
Right.
even if it weren't conforming, we could still approve it.
Yeah.
That's within the purview of the board. So, all right.
I don't
I actually don't have comments about the submission on the backside. I think including the porch along the
There was a,
west face is a nice touch. It's got window trim, it's got accent siding. Are you replacing the siding in the existing home gables?
We are, yeah.
Okay. And I do like the addition of the band board on the front. I actually think that's a nice touch. So going to 3 columns and having that, because right now the siding just kind of ends at the top of the columns.
Right.
I was just looking for the, is there a table with the finish? Oh, is it right here?
They're just in the notes.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry.
if they're in the notes, that's fine. I'll move to, oh, sorry.
No, you can move.
Okay, he's asking for a motion. I'm giving my motion to move or as submitted.
As long as we have the colors noted, I concur. I haven't found it yet, but if they're in the notes,
I don't know that we actually have the color of the siding noted. So the brick will match existing. Downspouts, gutters match existing as well. The
trim's all white.
trim is white and both the lap and the board and batten siding, the intent is kind of a sage green per the renderings.
But I think that's probably the only thing we need to call out is sage green.
Yeah.
All right, I will add that note, and then that will change the
Then
motion
it is
to
as modified.
as noted.
Noted. Sorry. Slip back into building codes.
All right, so we have a motion. I will second. Paul Turner,
Aye.
Matt Foreman, yes.
Yes, I mean,
All right, so you're approved by the board. You get to go see Mr. Steve for permitting.
John.
Why, you called him Steve, it's your fault.
wasn't me. I didn't say it, swear. Just don't look at the recordings. I realized that after I said it.
Stuck in my head.
And then he picked it up.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
And moving on to our last agenda item, 9111 lawn addition at the existing, room addition, rear of existing. And pretty sure I pulled that one down already.
Lost it. Closed it. 11.
There we are. All right, tell us about your project.
I'm Doug Winter, I'm the contractor representing the owner. It's a simple 16 by 16 addition on the back of 9111 lawn. It'll be framed, sitting on foundation, be sided. We've noted the finishes on the plans. Brought a piece of the siding for you, white. We're adding a bathroom, master bedroom, bathroom, and master closet. And
Second one in from, geez, right on high school again. Wow.
well, this is about 3 houses, 4 houses down.
Got to get my bearings. All right, so we're over here, right?
It is west of high school. There you just passed it. That's it, right there.
That one and
The
based
one with the
on-
car in the driveway.
Oh. That one?
Correct.
Yeah. So you're adding off of
We're adding off of the back
that corner.
corner, correct.
All right, pretty straightforward. Siding framed, as you mentioned before. We have window trim, 412 roof. Immediately off the neighbor's driveway, so I'm not concerned about putting a window in.
Gotcha.
If we go here, that's the neighbor's, that's the neighbor's because that's yours.
Not following?
Oh,
That's the neighbor's driveway.
Okay,
So you're coming off right here.
correct, back there.
So where I was going for referencing prior conversations, typically if we see a big expanse of siding, we would say, can we do something with that? But it's an expanse of siding facing the neighbor's driveway at the back of the house. So I don't see a reason to add any emphasis or articulation that far back on the lot facing the neighbor's driveway, especially because he's already got his bedroom laid out.
It's beyond their driveway. But there are additions. Took pictures of the two houses to the left and right, and one of them does have an addition, similarly built, white. If you look at the pictures I submitted,
Follow my comment, Mr. Turner.
I'm just, side
so
elevation.
you see up there that it's very similar addition style.
Okay, so is this a hip on the end, or is this a, oh, yeah,
I'm sorry, sir,
it is a hip, isn't it? Yes.
the air conditioning's going, as you know, it's real loud.
Yeah, the end of the house is a hip. Gotcha, so you're tying in, extending the,
He's coming off right here.
gotcha. Yeah, so there's no other trim on the house, is that correct?
No, not, other than
It's not,
Other
it's
than a
just
white
brick
fascia
mold.
board.
Siding is what I meant to say, not trim,
There's siding
but
on
siding.
on their garage side.
Well, let's take a peek at that just for reference.
The opposite side of the house is their garage. It's white.
Okay.
Yours.
I thought it was strange considering the house is completely masonry that they had that on the house now, but
I'm gonna go back to the street view because I think that's where it shows.
I think well, it might have shown up in one of my pictures, my front, no, maybe not. So that far side, so if you get a little further down the
Right
street,
there.
you'll see it.
Feels like somebody enclosed a carport, but who knows?
Well, that's
You
funny.
know, the whole thing's masonry, just like the rest of the house. It's got the veneer brick with the
Wow.
Yeah,
cinder
so
block.
it's a block with
It's
the
a block
siding, yeah.
garage that got sided.
Yeah, because they were required to be masonry. They just wanted some siding. All right, that makes me feel happier that the white's fine. That's all I was trying
Yeah,
to.
white soffits, white fascia board, white gutters.
So any
Is there any
Thoughts on
public comment on this
keeping
one?
the hip on the back of the house
Oh,
too?
wait.
So, I mean, is it just, was
what-
there any discussion as to just doing it a hip on the back so that it just matched the rest of the house?
So what he's saying is,
Everything else in
I
the
mean,
house is a hip.
I build it, I don't design it, but
he's just saying clip off that, just like it is on the front. So if that gets sloped back so that the roof actually just comes across here, and then this turns into just the,
Roof on the end.
that would be,
so
That would be
the roof is running
he's,
like
Yeah,
this.
it's just another hip,
He's
just
making-
like the front.
he's making it match that.
Yeah, I'm just, it's a consistency
Okay.
of the house. I mean, do you
I
think
s-
the
I- now-
owner,
Now I follow what you're saying.
you think the owner would be opposed to that? I mean, I just think it would be,
I think you're going to be opposed to the extra cost.
oh, are you stick building it or are you trusses?
We're bringing trusses, I'm going to have to redesign.
On the back, nobody's ever
Okay.
gonna see it.
I just,
I get your point, because it
Okay.
would match the rest of it, but
be a nicer house, but okay.
If it was in the front, I would be right there with you.
So can we approve both? So if they decide that it's only $100 extra and.
Yeah, I'll take it back and see. I
Yeah,
mean,
just ask. Can we approve both?
I'll send a picture to my,
Alternate hip is
to my truss
is
fabricator.
approved as well. That way they don't have to come back in front of us. I'd like to have that as an option if you think if it's,
fine, I'll put
Feasible.
in, I agree it would be more in keeping with the rest of the house. I don't think it's a reason to deny the submittal.
Oh, no, I'm not saying to
So
deny.
I
I'm
would
just saying
say-
I'd love to have the option for them to be able to do that.
approve
I'll
because-
tell you,
alternate-
I'll tell you, I'm an easy guy. I also live in Brentwood.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I just.
but on the other side of Brentwood, I'm not near high school.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't think of it as being any more because it's all pre-manufactured. They'll bring out the two corner sets and
I
mull them
under-
together and
I
you're
understand
done.
the aesthetics of it. I just don't think in the back of the house, it's going to be noticed, is all. Especially the back of the house,
Just
on the side of the
architects
house.
that notice stuff like that.
Like I said, would it be a nice touch? Yes. Is it a reason to deny the submittal? No. I made a note for Mr. Turner's.
Thank you.
Aggrandizement that
Okay.
the approved alternate for hip roof, if selected, let me put that in there.
If selected, yeah.
Can't spell tonight. Man, I'm just starting to run on fumes here.
This has been
If
an-
for some reason they
This
say
has
they
been
want
an
to do it.
interesting meeting.
This one's been a little weird tonight, I gotta tell you. All right, I move to approve as noted.
I'll second that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All those in favor, or Paul Turner,
Aye, yes.
Foreman, yes.
I just have a question, has nothing to do with this. The house on the corner of Pine and High School, the first house, would you guys have approved a stone veneer wainscoting? Or are you looking for more brick? I'm just curious.
There's so much brick in that neighborhood, I would have actually preferred the brick
Yeah.
veneer. We do run into times where the stone veneer tends to be the thin stone that's adhered.
Fully adhered systems are, yeah, I mean,
Where brick typically gets a brick ledge, and a number of the catalog homes that come in are so tight that they don't even have room for the brick ledge at the property lines or the setback lines. So I would have preferred brick in that location
Yeah.
because of the context of the neighborhood, which is one of our fundamental premises. But any sort of masonry, I think, would be open to discussion.
so, I mean, just to answer your question, the way I would look at it, I would not do a one-story stone on that one. I would lean towards it being a two-story body in the front of the house, as if it was a
Not
stone
one-story,
home.
it's too much, but a brick wainscot covering the foundation.
Just a simple wainscot, no, I don't think, to me, it was part of the acceptance of what I had come up with there of not saying all brick. I mean, there were no residents here that said it's required to be all brick, and,
I agree with
But
your
it's a-
assessment, the one-story brick fit with the neighborhood.
right, it's a character that we can potentially see for the new, for renovations of at least 2 or 3 homes within immediate vicinity. I mean, that's why I said one floor is fine.
Do you need this siding sample that
Oh, the
that's to
siding
bring
sample?
in?
No, but thank you for bringing it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, so next section is public comments. We do have an attendee who came up before that would like to basically do what we used to call the hot seat.
Oh, yeah, no guarantees.
Do we want to do that in public comments, or do we want to do that after the board dismisses?
After the board, which is almost done, right?
Correct.
I mean,
So, hang on. Jessica, do we have a building official director report, or is?
Yeah, I have one, just 1 second.
Got it.
Sorry. I'm sorry. We did have an email sent in that it really doesn't, I don't think it's going to have to do with this, but I wanted to go ahead and read it because she sent it and wanted us to note this. It just states that I received a notice about the meeting on June 18th, but I have a conflicting meeting. I do have one area of concern. As a former elected official in Michigan, serving the city of Manistee,
Manistee,
thank you.
very nice town. Yes.
Let me tell you from my experience, issues with additions. Lighting is never properly addressed and generally overlooked during the permitting process, so the fault lies in the municipality to develop an ordinance to approve all lighting along with other requirements. If I could be there in person, I would ask for what lighting the applicant is proposing and how it may or may not affect the neighbors. Hoping this is covered, but though it'd be better to throw it out there for consideration. And that's from.
Was that for a
Linda-
particular house or
That's from
just?
Linda Beaton. It's Beaton. She lives at 1709 Redbird Cove.
Does that abut any of these projects?
She did receive a notice, yeah. It just doesn't say about which one.
Oh, Redbird Cove is going to be in, yeah, that's going to be in Brentwood Forest. Yeah, Brentwood Forest. So that's probably this house.
That's possible.
So she's wanting to know if there's going to be a big spotlight up on the top and the back that shines into her window is probably the question. Which I don't, the city does have ordinance on lighting, even though I don't think anybody's,
It would be, the property maintenance code, I believe, covers it.
yeah, I mean, isn't there like a maximum lighting you can shed on your neighbors, even though?
I'll
Yeah,
say
it's kind of
this, so
a
that's
vague
Redbird,
ordinance, but
that's Redbird Cove there. And we're here.
Gosh, I'm surprised she fell into the range. Quite
But
a
I would
ways
also
over.
note, there was no lighting identified on the exterior for this project. There was no back patio changes,
Correct.
and there was no lighting fixtures shown on the elevations.
Well, she's also making a generic comment, because I don't know if some of these other projects that were done previously had lights that were added. I mean, I don't know if, again, that would be separate from the ARB anyway. That would be a, either whatever the adopted electrical code or,
So the first submission was tabled. The second submission was only the patio cover, where they didn't appear to be adding lighting. And the third submission may have had some lighting on the porch, but it faced the street, facing the high school, middle school.
which is
See
always
that
shedding
being a
lots of light.
concern. It's got lots of light over
Yeah.
there. So I'm just trying to comprehensively put her comment in context with all of the ones reviewed tonight. It's a valid comment. I don't think it had specific application to any of the submittals that were reviewed and approved tonight. Might be something we want to raise in the future and in context with the house on the corner that's coming back next month.
Well, and it could also be, I mean, to me, this was more of a general statement and would be appropriate to possibly include lighting of some sort discussed in the new architectural guidelines. I mean, that's where I think it's more, could be appropriate one way or the other.
yeah, I agree. And I'll take that to Whitney.
Yeah.
Let her know.
So that's, I'd pass it on to that, so.
All right, email received lighting, was that one? Is that the rest of our your building report?
Yes, fine.
Okay,
That's my building report. Thank you.
all right. Do we have a
I'm
motion?
sorry, one more thing. We do have submittals for next month also.
How many so far?
3, I think, if I remember correctly.
Everybody's trying to get them in before the architectural guidelines are in place.
Or before winter hits, I don't know.
All right, do we have a motion?
I'll move to
Adjourn.
adjourn. Thank you.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Stand adjourned.